We are wrestling.
Olympic hero Kurt Angle, and you're listening to the We Are Wrestling Podcast. We Are Wrestling Podcast.
Let's flip and go.
You're watching We Are Wrestling.
I'm the host with the most.
You are by far the least intelligent.
What is going on? We are Wrestling Maniacs. Ben here, one half of the We Are Wrestling podcast.
We Are Wrestling Podcast.
Make sure to subscribe, baby.
We are wrestling.
What is up? We are Wrestling Maniacs out there worldwide. I'm the host with the most, Mr. We Are Wrestling himself, the best one, Donnie, here with...
What is going on? We are Wrestling Maniacs. It has been one half of the We Are Wrestling podcast. It is a interesting feeling knowing that we're at number 80, man. 80 fucking episodes. That's crazy. But before we get into all that crazy shit, in a very, very special session of this this very different version of the podcast, Don, take it away.
That's right, man. We wanted to do something special for the We Are Wrestling Podcast 80. We're going to be bringing in the host of Wrestling with Heart, Stanley. We met him at the Wrestling Classic 3, and we've been wanting to do a collaboration with him. What he's doing in the wrestling community is pretty awesome. We want to shed some light on that. But before we dive into all that and some really cool wrestling topics this week, if you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet already, and you're listening to the podcast, give us a 5-star review, not just any review, a best one review, and download the episode. But if you haven't checked out the We Are Wrestling YouTube channel yet already, and you're watching this over here, and you're not a part of the thousands of subscribers, we recommend you to hit that subscribe button now, turn on the post notifications, videos be coming out of nowhere like an RKO, and of course you already know, the grind is real.
Yeah, boy. It's getting
it's
getting good,
how's
man.
Your week been?
My week has been very interesting. It's been full of its, ups and downs, but things are going, and I'm not going to talk on those things because I don't want them to, fall through from, bad juju and all that shit. But pretty decent week, pretty challenging week, but, tomorrow's another day and today's a new day, and I'm trying to look at it very positively. So what about yourself, my man?
The power of positivity, man. It's a new day. Yes, it is. For me, man, I gotta say, it's been a pretty stressful week. Been trying to, get back into routine with a lot of things because obviously, last week, in the beginning of the week, I was out, not feeling good at all. So It's been kind of affecting me this week, playing catch up and stuff, but it's been, a pretty solid week, I'd say.
Hell yeah, man. That's, like I said, it's not life if it isn't challenging in some way. And I'm learning to try to handle that differently, So we're keeping it real over here, man.
Absolutely. And to all the We Are Wrestling Maniacs out there, if you haven't checked out the latest extra over on the We Are Wrestling YouTube channel, Ben and we actually talked about the revealing of TNA wrestling coming back in 2024. So if you guys haven't checked that out yet, recommend you guys to. Also, we do have a wrestling vlog coming out, hopefully by next week. It was supposed to be this week, but like I said, I've been playing catch up. So we do have, a Creative Pro / Blitzkrieg Pro vlog. Yeah. And guys, it's a really good one. So
I'm excited.
It's definitely going to be worth the wait, man.
I'm excited to see it.
Absolutely. But this week, what is your highlight of the week?
So my highlight of the week, it might be a very, very small thing, but maybe it's on other people's minds, so we'll find out. Right now, it's that interaction between Nick Aldis and Adam Pearce, along with Jey Uso, and the fact that they're building up the Survivor Series war here. Let's let the games begin or something like that. I was just like, all right, okay, All right, we're getting that separation of Raw and SmackDown. We're simmering. We're fucking heating it up now. I'm really excited because there is nothing I love more than a classic Survivor Series feeling. And my God, I'm getting those 05 vibes again. It's nice.
SmackDown versus Raw, man.
I'm
And
so fucking hyped.
you know something that I really like about it is it's so simple, but so entertaining, which is why I love this whole Nick Aldis as the SmackDown general manager and Adam Pearce as the Raw GM. Because like little segments like that, like because it made sense. Jimmy and Jay have been feuding, and then you have, Jimmy costs Jay the tag team championships. Jay tries to come on SmackDown to get his revenge on Jimmy. Then, you have this backstage thing. Love it, man.
Bro, so while we're talking about this specific topic, let's quickly fantasy book real quick.
Fantasy book.
So, yeah. What if not only is it going to be, a Raw and SmackDown thing, what if Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis have a quick little stint in the ring because they're both fucking wrestlers, one, and both have history in the NWA. So to see them just quickly do something, not a match, but just like something, I would
like some
love
type
that.
Of like altercation.
Yeah, an altercation like where it's like, they're trying to separate shit. Nick Aldis or somebody or fucking Pierce smacks him, and then they actually start like legitimately fucking like hooking up and everything. Like I want to see some shit, Give me that. If you're making this Nostalgia City, give me that, and I guarantee Adam Pearce would fucking love that. So hell yeah, dude. And you get a little bit of tease of Nick Aldis. So I mean, let's go.
And Nick Aldis didn't really retire from the ring. His last match, I believe, was in June at the TNA Slammiversary.
It's a hype train right now that nobody asked for, but I'm here for it.
Exactly. That's like what I'm saying, and I love this. Like bringing back general managers is one of the most brilliant things WWE has done.
Yes, I'm so excited to see the return of like backstage in-office segments again, dude, because those made my day. Those were some of my favorite fucking moments, like seeing the backstage segments at fucking pay-per-views, like the Royal Rumble 05 when people are picking their fucking numbers and shit. Dude, is just fucking
this is
hilarious.
how we know Triple H is back. If the Royal Rumble, we get them picking the balls. That's how you know Triple H is back.
Dog, I need it. That was some of my favorite shit.
But that's the thing that made, I think, the Attitude Era so prestigious was all the little things that they did, like the Hardcore Championship, man, the 24/7 rule.
No, dude. Like, it fucking was everything to me because, like, one of my favorite segments, and again, I have to go back to the 05 Royal Rumble.
Outside the arena. I love when they do shit,
dude,
all over the place.
Dude, 05 Royal Rumble, one of my favorite backstage segments of all time. And I keep going back to this Royal Rumble because that whole fucking card was stacked, and the Rumble itself obviously had one of the fucking legendary finishes that will never ever happen again happened in that one.
Let me guess, your favorite wrestler, Paul London, when he got clotheslined and did two backflips.
That shit was kind of fucking hilarious. That fucking cell should have fucking.
I can't believe he got a lot of heat for that. That's crazy.
That was beautifully done, beautifully sold.
Made Snitsky look like $1 million.
Besides the fucking point, before you get me sidetracked. Besides the point, one of my favorite segments was when Ric Flair was picking his number right after Eddie Guerrero did, and then as he's dapping him up and leaving, he stole his fucking number, and fucking Ric Flair got number fucking, I think it was like number 30, and fucking Guerrero had 2, and I was fucking dying, bro. That was like one of the best things ever, and I hope that happens again going forward under Triple H, man. So I'm really excited about.
Speaking of 2005 Royal Rumble, I do got to add something to this. One of my favorite segments during that Rumble, because they had so many iconic backstage segments.
Yeah, man. Show. Big Show trying to fucking put his hand.
I love when JBL escaped another WWE Championship match, and then it was, I believe, Teddy Long told him that he was going to be stuck in a steel cage with the Big Show at No Way Out.
Yeah,
he got so pissed off. I do remember that.
Yeah,
that was great. But now, getting into my highlight of the week, it's got to be one of my favorite acts right now in AEW, Christian Cage absolutely bodying and burying the Nature Boy Ric Flair. Fucking cold-blooded, man. Christian Cage is on a whole nother level right now in AEW, and I am all for it.
Oh my god, dude, that's fucking awesome. That's fucking awesome. Like, see, I would be way more hyped if Ric Flair wasn't already fucking everywhere, talking to fucking, dirt sheets, talking to fucking TMZ, fucking just being everywhere, talking hella shit about some matches other than praising his fucking daughter. Like, it's so hard to be hyped to see Ric Flair when he's never really left. Like, he's always been around, he's just popping up in AEW, which everybody kind of saw coming.
But here's why, like, I got really excited about seeing Ric Flair in AEW, because there is a lot of history that goes, behind that due to, TNT and, TBS. All those years, at WCW. Ric Flair, was one of the headlines of, TBS with Sting. So I thought that was a really cool moment to see them to, catch up, especially now that Sting has already announced that he's going to be retiring.
Yeah, and
in,
Sting
2024.
looked like he didn't even fucking know Rick was there, bro.
I think that was like the whole point. I feel like Tony Khan probably didn't want to tell him and then hit him with the surprise.
He was like, yeah, here's Flair, just for you.
Hey, I gotta say though, Nature Boy did look really good out there, like good shape.
For his age and for his conditions,
really good shape.
Diaper's still fucking on fleek though.
But guys, up next on the We Are Wrestling podcast, we have a special interview we're going to be doing with the host of Wrestling with Hearts, Stanley. And we'll be right back with more We Are Wrestling podcast number 80.
What's crackin' everybody? WWE Hall of Famer, The Godfather here, and you're listening to, that's right, you are listening to We Are Wrestling Podcast. Check them out, man. Stay on that smoke train.
Are you looking for wrestling content? Well, We Are Wrestling provides everything pro wrestling. The best one, Donnie, Gins, and the Load Rager Ben, are wrestling marks like you who love this sport. We Are Wrestling has it all when it comes to wrestling content. We have different podcasts, vlogs, reactions, full wrestling matches, live pay-per-view watch-alongs, interviews, predictions, and so much more. Only on We Are Wrestling. What are you waiting for? Subscribe and become a We Are Wrestling Maniac now.
We're back, and today on, the We Are Wrestling podcast number 80, we have a special guest here. He is the host of Wrestling with Hearts, Stanley Karr. Say what's up to the We Are Wrestling Maniacs.
How's it going, everyone? So glad to be here. Thank you for having me on and inviting me.
Absolutely, man. No problem.
It's a pleasure.
We guys, so before, we dive into, Stanley, like how he got into, the wrestling podcast world and how he got into this, thing that we call, wrestling, because everybody has their, stories. How we met Stanley, we actually met him at the Wrestling Classic 3. This was an event that, both, Wrestling with Hearts and We Are Wrestling were, proud vendors of. And I gotta ask you, Stanley, with being a vendor at the Wrestling Classic, was that one of your first events?
It was my first event, and it was a pretty interesting experience because I had been to some conventions in the past. Obviously, as a guest, it's quite different from being actually somebody that's working there, and it's kind of nice. You see all people from all walks of life come walk over to your booth, or just check out to see people like Kurt Angle or Devon Dudley or Alicia Fox have their stuff set up, and you get to meet the folks and network. Or it's a great way to meet other fans. I mean, that's probably the best way. Like, if you're ever looking into not just going to meet the wrestlers, but it's a great way to just, if you're looking to do like some kind of podcast or have some kind of following, it's a great way to network and meet people, get your product out there. So that's kind of what I was wanting to do with that convention. So it was an incredible experience.
Awesome.
And that's the thing, man. Like, that's the thing that, like, I found, like, really interesting because, of course, we went over to your table and stuff, during the event. And believe it or not, that was our very first, time, being a vendor at an event. And like it is, I got to like 100% agree with you, Stanley, because I've been to, different wrestling conventions throughout the years, always as a fan. I still continue to do that. But, you know, it was a total like different ball game as, you know, a vendor. Getting to see, you know, the tables getting set up, getting to actually talk to the professional wrestlers before, you know, the fans were able to come in. It was definitely a really cool, eye-opening experience.
It was, especially, I mean, there's people don't know, like, there's a lot of work that goes into setting up and getting ready for a convention. I know for me, getting pens made, stickers made, brochures, it takes a lot of work, a lot of money. You know, you have to invest in it wisely and prepare stuff. But as long as the people come by to your booth and want to say hello, you got to find ways to network with them. So get them to come over. And so both of our products, our channels, our brands, I think it worked out. And I'm looking forward to what's next. And I'll tell you a little bit about that more later in the podcast.
Ooh, excited.
That's awesome. And I got to ask you, you know, Ben, as well, because that was your very first wrestling convention. You never, you know, went to one as a fan.
No, see, like I've been to like other conventions. Like for example, back in 2017, I went to something called Walker Stalker Con because I'm a Walking Dead nerd. So you know, like I as a guest and a very proud guest too, because again, you know, I think it was like an $800 ticket my brother got for me, and it was like for my birthday. And like I was getting like escorted everywhere, and I was cutting lines. I had like it was a nuts experience, but to be a vendor, it's completely different grounds right there, and it's a little nerve-wracking. Like I'm not gonna lie, I was like super nervous, and then we're sitting, you know, where we're sitting. I think we had Lex Luger at the other end, which was like right between.
He was like 2 tables from us.
Yeah, 2 tables from us, and then we had Kurt Angle directly to our right, and I was just like, this is kind of crazy, and we like. It's a nuts experience. That's all I can really say. It's really nuts, and it's different being on the other side of the table, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And everybody's super tight knit too. Like everybody is super nice, like including just like, you know, wrestlers going to, you know, kind of talk to them and just kind of shoot, you know. And they're just super nice. Like we sat around, I think, Kurt for a little bit, talking towards the end of the event, just, you know, just shooting it for a little bit, and it was different. You know, it's just a really different experience, but it's super giving in a lot of ways because, you know, like Stanley said, you know, networking, you get to meet some of the most passionate fans that love talking about this industry and could really, you know, lend a voice into, you know, a great conversation. So I'm definitely looking forward to the next one that we do as well.
I'm definitely looking forward to it as well. And how far did you travel from, you know, Springfield, Mass? Because you did travel quite a bit.
Oh yeah, so I'm from Nashville. I'm from Nashville, Tennessee, and we
capital of music.
Yeah, Music City, baby.
Yeah.
So we flew. Let's see, we flew on Friday, the 16th, because I believe it was on a Saturday. Correct? Yes.
Yep.
The
event was on a Saturday.
It was on a Saturday. We got in Friday night, and we arrived, I believe, at about 8:30, 9 o'clock to the convention center. It was a nice little place. Set up everything. Got to see all the merchandise being sold. Got to meet you guys. Got to meet some of the other vendors that were there. Just unbelievable.
Yeah, and that's the thing, man. When you like told us that like you like flew from Tennessee, that was absolutely mind-blowing. And like to see, like, especially with like the low following that you do have with this, you know, passion project, I was very surprised, man. And just like to see the dedication that you have and like the passion for what you do, that's why like it's an honor to have you on this podcast.
Oh, absolutely, man. If we can shed any kind of positive light on it, man, we will.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Hopefully, you know, something good will come out of this conversation.
Absolutely, man.
Absolutely.
So what was your experience like with some of the talent and everything that was there as guests? Like, what was some of those interactions like for you?
Well, I had met Kurt Angle before at
Okay.
Con. Very nice guy. One of the greatest wrestlers of all time. One of my favorites.
Yep,
oh, yeah.
Same here, man.
Oh, yeah.
And somebody who hopefully I get to interview one day, Devon, who I actually got to interview him for the podcast.
I saw that.
That's awesome.
Brilliant episode.
Yeah, thank you. It was just another great stand-up guy. Could not be any friendlier. Could not be more friendly. Alicia Fox was cool.
Oh yeah.
Marty Jannetty. Oh, Teddy Long. Holla, holla,
Holla,
holla.
holla.
Holla holla,
He
player.
gave me a fist bump as I was coming back from the bathroom, and I actually met him before at a show. Just one of the nicest guys in the world, man.
That's awesome.
I met him when I was a little kid at in Hyannis, Cape Cod at the Melanie tent. Like I would used to wait at before while the wrestlers would arrive and stuff, and he actually ended up taking a picture with me
Oh, really?
when I was a kid.
Oh, man.
Really cool experience.
Yeah, the Godfather was super nice too.
Yes, he
Really,
was.
really nice. Alicia Fox randomly ran into us at a vendor station. Like we were I think Donnie or something was shopping around, and she just came over and it was asked us if something was on sale, and we were like, oh, we don't work here. And then we just started talking about her tattoos and stuff, and we were just kind of shooting it. It was really weird. It was different, because that's Alicia Fox, man. So I'm like,
yeah,
what am I doing?
Total diva star, man, over on E.
Yeah.
You're starstruck when you meet these guys and gals, and so you can't help but mind your P's and Q's and just figure out things to talk about on the fly. And so that's kind of,
you have to have such a spark for just a conversation, and you just have to let your mind take you. But sometimes, man, it's hard, especially depending on who it is.
It's very hard, man.
but I believe, we're all in the same industry, the media industry, where we're talking to these people. So hopefully our shyness will kind of fade over time.
Oh, no, absolutely.
But I definitely want to know as well, because obviously, doing what you do with, wrestling with hearts, I got to ask you, how did you get into professional wrestling? What's your story that got you into this sport that, we love?
Yeah, so I was, maybe 5 when I first discovered professional wrestling. This was right at the heart of the Attitude Era. And so my dad...
That's where I got into it too.
Yeah, I think a lot of us at this age just kind of got into it right around that early 2000s, late 90s time period. So I was just at home one night, and my dad actually had on Raw, and I just happened to sit next to him and just asked him, what are you watching? And he goes, I'm watching wrestling. And so The Rock was on. He was cutting a promo, I believe, and he was just wearing these these expensive clothes, the shirts and the dark pants.
Oh,
he had that.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
He had that hairstyle that everybody was going gaga over. The sunglasses,
sideburns,
the sideburns just oozing charisma. And so he was cutting a promo. I believe it was on Big Show.
Okay.
And they were
oh boy.
They were having some kind of a feud, and so I was like, "Wow, this is awesome!" And so I would watch. I would watch on a pretty regular basis. I kind of took a break for a little bit, and I kind of regretted it because I missed out on some good stuff. But I'm grateful that I came back. I came back around right at the time the Ruthless Aggression era really kicked into full force. Brock Lesnar had just left the company though, which was a shame because I had heard a lot about Brock Lesnar, and I wanted to see what he was doing. So this was right around the time John Cena started to rise as a top star. He was the U.S. champion. This was after WrestleMania that year, WrestleMania 20 at in New York, Madison Square Garden.
Yep, where he beat the Big Show.
And man, I tell you, that roster was still stacked. It was crazy. I had to learn that there was a brand split because I was so used to just watching. Yeah, no kidding. Because I had remember watching Raw and watching SmackDown, the same program. You get to follow up on the storylines. I had to learn that there were 2 separate rosters. So I had
You're wondering why you're missing chunks.
Team Raw or Team SmackDown when you were a kid?
SmackDown.
I was the SmackDown kid all the way.
Let's go.
Yeah,
Let's go, man.
I was
Let's go.
So now I will say though, the first live event I actually went to, that same year that I got back into wrestling was a Raw event.
Yes, me too.
Yeah,
Oh
same
05.
here.
Oh
Same
05.
here. My first live event for like a WWE show was 2003, and it was a Monday Night Raw live event.
Mine
Okay.
was 2005 August 1st, and it was a live Monday Night Raw event, furthering the story between Shawn Michaels and Hulk Hogan. Where he was on Larry King?
Oh yeah.
I was there. I was at Mohegan.
Nice.
I was there, man.
All
Yeah.
right, so my first event was actually not a televised one. It was a live event. It was an outdoor show in a town called Frederick, Maryland. I was living in Maryland at the
Ooh.
time.
Okay.
And so I'll never forget this moment. Stacy Keibler was out cutting a promo, I believe, and Jonathan Coachman kind of interrupted her. This was like when they were doing the Diva Search stuff.
Oh,
So-
yeah.
I know what
So-
you're talking about.
So I think like he said something that was disrespectful and just mean. And so Stacy like kicked him where the sun doesn't shine. And I remember they had an intermission, and me being 9 years old, think back, like this was 2004. They did, this was a live event. This was outdoors. They didn't have the Titantron set up and everything like that. So I took off from my parents. I went to the merch tables just to see what they had. And I saw this tent that was next door to the merch stand. And me just being this naive 9-year-old kid, just wanted to see what was in the tent. So I went over to the tent, not thinking that the wrestlers, that's where they were coming out from. And I took a peek. I see Stacy Keibler right in front of me, and Victoria's next to her, and Kane to my left. And
Was Kane unmasked or masked?
he was unmasked. So Stacy says
Oh,
hi.
no.
Stacy says hi. Victoria's waving hello, and Kane's just right in front of me, and he's going. And I said, "Hi, Kane," and I said, "Yank my shirt."
Hi,
That's,
Kane.
hi.
And now
That's awesome.
now he's the mayor of Knoxville.
Yeah.
No, right? Crazy
Mayor.
story.
Oh man.
Crazy.
And I actually got to meet Kane, officially meet Kane the next year when we moved back to Nashville, because I was born in Nashville, and it was at a bookstore. He was signing some book, and really nice guy.
Oh yeah, usually most of the darker characters I learned are because we actually went to Northeast Wrestling last year, back in like February, March, maybe even April, and I met Karrion Kross, one of the nicest, soft-spoken men on the planet. But my God, I'd be lying if I said that his bicep wasn't the radius of my head all the way around, dude. The dude is massive. He towers me by like 1.5 feet, dude. I'm like, a lot of people don't think that you're really huge. Like Chris Van Vliet meant it. Like a lot of people don't think he's huge on camera, but then you see him and he's just massive, bro. I'm like,
He's like
Larger than life.
he's like an MMA fighter, but like even times infinity.
but he's so nice.
Yeah.
And he has like the softest handshake, and he's just super happy to like be around fans. And it's just, he's like, you don't see that on TV. So it's so interesting when you finally get to see that different side of them where the kayfabe isn't there. And it's cool. It's a really, really cool experience.
It really is. And it's something that you kind of have to get used to as you get older, when you start going to shows and you learn about the difference between reality and fiction. So it's...
The separation wasn't there for me for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
And speaking of Kane, I actually got the opportunity to meet him a couple years ago at Zombie Hideout, my go-to toy store. And I was wearing a Clemson hoodie, and the only thing that he said to me was, "Clemson sucks," and took a picture with him. And I'm not
His
even a
deep
Clemson
voice.
fan.
Clemson sucks.
Pretty cool experience, though, meeting Kane.
Yeah. One of the nicest guys in the business.
Oh,
I believe
absolutely.
it.
So during, the Ruthless Aggression time, because that's where it seems like, you really got into, professional wrestling, who was your favorite wrestler?
Oh, man. Well, my number one ultimate favorite wrestler is going to be The Rock, hands down. But in terms of Ruthless Aggression, I would probably go with Kurt Angle.
Okay.
I would go with Kurt Angle, and I would also go with Eddie Guerrero, because When I was
Yes.
10 years old, when I first heard the news about Eddie passing away, I was just devastated.
Oh, same, man. That was like that tore my
I
heart
remember
out.
being a young kid, man, hearing that news. I
That was
cried.
like my first exposure to what death was and what it takes from you. And it genuinely hurt like a lot. And I didn't reel in for it for like, I think it was like 6 months where I finally kind of just like let it go. But for a while, dude, there was just like a void, there was something missing that was a part of the show for so long. And
Oh my
at
God.
36 or 38 rather, that's still young, man.
I mean, we just lost Bray Wyatt, not
That
ago, and I think this generation obviously can relate to what we experienced as kids with Eddie.
yeah.
And the crazy part was that SmackDown at that time wasn't live, it was taped, and he actually had wrestled Ken Kennedy.
Yep, I
And
do remember that. That was his very last match.
It was nuts because I remember they just, I believe, I don't know if you remember this or not, but they had advertised like right after the show, a triple threat match between Eddie, Batista, and Orton for the world championship. And a couple days later, he died.
Yeah.
Yeah, because wasn't like at the time, like from like, the wrestling mill, wasn't the plans for Eddie to win the world championship at the Survivor Series, right?
Yeah, I think that was the plan, or the plan was for him to win the belt that week. And Batista, I believe, had just suffered an injury. I know he was going to take some time off a couple of months later anyway to get surgery on his triceps, but it's like that what if situation, because at 38 years old, man, that's young. And he was just, not only was he such a great wrestler, but he had all this charisma in him.
And he was on fire at that point. He was getting a massive push.
I remember, I believe he had just turned back babyface because he had that feud with Rey Mysterio.
For Dominic.
Yeah. And the crazy part is that was so well done. The way like it was from the beginning of the feud to the end of the feud.
Even to this day, like sometimes when I look at Dominic and the way he wrestles, the way he moves in the ring now, how he sees it, I'm just like, oh shit, maybe Eddie was right. Maybe Eddie was right. Because he just embodies Eddie's spirit, and he really keeps what could have been alive. And that's a big thing to say by, one of the wrestlers that is the most hated right now. But it's true.
So good.
He's so good now.
It's incredible to see the progress he's made as a heel, because very few people today, in my opinion, can do their job really well and get booed and not, you don't hear one single cheer when you like hear Dominic's name.
The
or have
heat.
him come out. That heat, man.
He can't even talk in the mic. Everybody else is booing him way too loud.
And I'm going to say this real quick because there's been some reports this week talking about, the whole like WWE production team friggin' adding in the booze, this and that. The reason why we do not have that as a topic on this week's episode of the podcast is because it is 100% bullshit. Sorry for my language. I went to Raw in Hartford earlier this summer, and I could not hear Dom on that microphone. And I know for a fact.
And I love how they
did
addressed
not,
it on
lower his
SmackDown.
microphone.
And even on SmackDown, they addressed it. They're like, man, I thought they piped those boos in. They just could not hear him on that mic, man. I love it. What were you about to say, though, Stanley?
I mean, he just gets so much booze from that crowd, man.
It's electrifying.
It's unbelievable. It really
Music
is.
to my ears.
Yeah.
And it's like when Judgment Day breaks up, where do you put Dominic? I think he should go on a solo run. I think Rhea is good on her own, where she can be whatever role you want to put her in, as a babyface, as a heel. I think she's good to go solo. I think Dominic should just really take over as a top heel, without anybody by his side. I think he can do it.
Oh, absolutely. Especially now that he's like taking the whole physical side of it seriously, and we're actually starting to see him get toned out, starting to put on some weight in like the good way. And I'm like, dude, and again, just how fluid and in tune with his ring awareness is. It's incredible. Like he has gone so far, in terms of, how he performs. It's incredible. He's not green around the gills by any means anymore. Like, this kid knows what he's doing, and it's going to be really exciting to see where he is in the next 10 years. Like, I'm excited for him.
Me too.
Very excited. But now let's get into Wrestling with Hearts,
All
your
right.
podcast that you have on your own, station. I want to know a little bit more about it. So what inspired you to create this podcast?
So I think I'd always wanted to do some kind of wrestling podcast at some point, because coming from somebody that's in the radio business and has a radio background, I love to communicate and talk with other people, whether it is musicians or professional wrestlers.
Yeah,
And
same.
I had taken a podcasting class where I work over at a community college in the greater Nashville area, and I came up with an idea to do a wrestling podcast, but not your typical wrestling podcast. There's a lot of wrestling podcasts out there that you hear about their careers, which we tend to do on our show as well, but really focus on things that you don't really get to hear about that much, like the service work that they do for other people, or charity, or volunteering. And I wanted to highlight that and spread some positivity, because I think the wrestling world could use some of that.
That's an understatement, man.
Yeah, it could definitely
Because
use
that's
some
the thing
positivity.
that's the thing I got to say that I really respect about that podcast, is that you do shed light on, the positive side of pro wrestling. Because I feel like a lot of, wrestling podcasts out there, when they do these interviews with, these professional wrestlers, they want to get, the most clicks. They want to get, backstage drama. And especially in a society that is, filled with toxicity, I really like that, you're really shedding light on the good, on the positive.
Thank you. So we do talk about the careers of these athletes, because it's a wrestling podcast. You want to talk about some of their in-ring work or time in the business. But to highlight some of these people and the work that they've done for other organizations, whether it's for Make-A-Wish or St. Jude, any stories that they want to share about that, things that they've done in their communities, just sheds a light. And it's good to have an outlet to talk about that, because so many people, like a John Cena or a Titus O'Neil, they're going out and like they're being charitable. They're trying to make a difference in people's lives. And so that's kind of something I wanted to highlight with my show. And I'm now into year 2, just working out the kinks and everything. We're on YouTube, and we'll talk about the platforms that we're on later on. But year 2, I'm just trying to figure out how to, as we all are, trying to make some money with it. And who knows, I'd like to get this on radio somehow.
That'd be great, man. That
would
on
be
like almost
awesome.
like a that'd be awesome to get it like on like a serious radio, 100%. Because I think like Howard Stern, he's at the Sirius Studios, I believe, or something like that.
Oh,
And, like,
yeah.
a lot of his stuff is like live as well, like on the radio as well. So
Yeah.
it's legendary. Yeah, that would be pretty sweet, honestly.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty sweet.
I mean, thank you. It's a different take on the business,
For
and
sure.
something you don't really think about when you think of professional wrestling. So yeah, I'd like to, there's a lot you can do with this. I'd like to make this more than just a typical podcast.
And that's like how it is, even with, our thing, the We Are Wrestling podcast. Like we love, making wrestling content. We do it all around. We have, our regular podcast, which, new episodes do come out every Saturday on the YouTube channel and, Apple Podcast and Spotify and all, wherever you get your podcast. And we also like to do, our live watch alongs, our wrestling vlogs. And we love to, do predictions and fantasy booking. And, at the end of the day, we're all professional wrestling fans. And with the We Are Wrestling, channel, that's pretty much like what our goal is to pretty much, give the fans, a perspective from, where they sit. Because at the end of the day, that's, what we love.
Absolutely. You just have to find something you enjoy and try to make the most out of it when you're talking about this, and have an outlet where you can share stories, you can talk about the latest news, and
Yes.
great to have that medium. So keep on trucking, keep on pushing forward.
Absolutely. But
That's the second time, bro.
I know. So, with, the Wrestling with Hearts, I do got to ask as well. You've had, plenty of, wrestlers, throughout your time on, this podcast. What's one of the stories that really stand out to you?
Yes, so I interviewed a young woman who was just getting in the business, was training with a couple people you might know, Funaki.
Ooh, Funaki.
Number one
announcer, Funaki, and Rikishi. And she was talking about how she kind of fell into wrestling after being recommended for it, and she studied up on the business. And she was talking about how she was kind of bullied while getting into it in the local circuits where she was working at. And she met a friend who the both of them were training together, and she was training, and while she was training with Rikishi, she broke her foot, and she couldn't wrestle for a while, for a long time. And she's now starting to get back into it again. I believe she got surgery recently, and she was just telling me stories like she was homeless for a while and living in cars, and it was painful. So for her to be able to get back on her feet and do what she loves to do is just, it really touched my heart.
That's inspiring, man.
That is really inspiring.
Yeah,
being able to overcome any kind of hurdle like that, and just for the sake of really feeling like that this is something that you could be really good at, and it could be a saving grace, even just spiritually, to overcome things like that while also being injured, living in a car, like that's got to be emotionally and like mentally damaging as well. So to be able to get past that is, for lack of better terms, that's warrior shit. That really is. And yeah, stories like that are definitely inspiring, and it really makes you look at things in a different perspective.
It does. I mean, she had mentioned to me that when she had told Rikishi that she couldn't do it anymore, he stopped his entire class, and he basically complimented her, called her a true professional wrestler. And so,
yes,
being
biggest
able
compliment in this business.
Oh, no question about it. And the fact that she's able to do it now and starting to get back into it again, it is heartwarming to hear that she's able to find her passion. Pursue her passion.
That's awesome, honestly. And with Wrestling with Hearts, I also want to know as well, like with this project, if there's anybody that you would love to have on your podcast, if you could fantasy book, like if you had one phone call you could make and
money's not an issue,
up that phone, who would you want on that podcast?
All right, so my number one go-to, I'd probably say Mick Foley.
Oh, hell yeah, man. And that is actually, I feel like, super manageable. I feel like that could definitely be obtainable. Like, yeah, I feel like he would be down for something like that. So, yeah, I think that would be really great. And I don't know if you've watched the show Hot Ones on YouTube, or like on his episode of Hot Ones where they, they eat chicken wings and they kind of like talk about the history of their careers and all that stuff. It's a brilliant episode. So if that's something that you really want to do, definitely check that interview out, because it is actually really great, man. And Mick Foley is always exciting. We all have a Mick Foley story. So
yeah, I got to meet him at a convention as well in Nashville when SummerSlam came to the area about a year ago. Last year, it was at the fairgrounds, and I actually had him signed. Do you remember he wrote children's books, Christmas Chaos?
Yes,
I do.
Okay, so I had him sign a copy of that, and I actually got it autographed not only by him but by Jerry Lawler as well a few weeks later at a show I went to in Tennessee.
Hey, me and the King share a birthday.
Oh, cool, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, with that, man, that's, amazing. I feel like Mick Foley, has done so much for this business, and he's like one of, the most positive, one of those, very laid back type of wrestlers who, has really given like so much to this business. And he's pretty much given even more to the business now that, he's, tied the boots up.
Oh no, yeah, he's done all kinds of charity work and all kinds of stuff for women, and you name it, he's done it.
That would be really cool if you ever got Mick Foley on your podcast, man.
Yeah,
That'd be awesome. Sky's the limit, man.
Sky's the limit. Just got to keep working at it.
Absolutely. But Stanley, I do got to ask, do you have any more time left to, talk about some wrestling stuff with us?
Yeah, man, let's do it.
Alrighty, so with that being said, guys, we'll be right back with more We Are Wrestling Podcast, episode 80.
Hey, this is your Olympic hero, Kurt Angle, and you're listening to the We Are Wrestling Podcast. Oh, it's true. It's damn true.
Collecting has always had a special place in my heart, going all the way back to when I was a kid. I remember my parents taking me to Toys R Us and waking up on Christmas morning to a bunch of new action figures. I had bins filled with thousands of rare WWE, WCW, ECW, and TNA figures through the years until, unfortunately, I ended up selling my whole childhood without knowing the true value of my collection. 2 years after I made that horrible decision, the pandemic hit, and I realized there was a part of me that felt missing, and that was collecting. My whole life, I've loved collecting wrestling figures, wrestling memorabilia, classic video games, Nickelodeon stuff, sneakers, Funko Pops, and even Angry Birds. As time went by, I decided I wanted to get back into collecting, except this time, document it and rebuild my collection over on Best One Donnie. So, if you want to go back into time and relive my nostalgic memories, subscribe now. We're back, and every week on the We Are Wrestling Podcast, we do this thing called Comment of the Week. And if you want to get your comment featured on a future episode of the We Are Wrestling Podcast, all you have to do is comment on any We Are Wrestling YouTube video over on our channel. And this week, the comment of the week is from Roger Pace 3749, and he commented on our latest extra about, TNA wrestling coming back. And he said this: "Too many negative people saying this was a bad idea just because of bad times during Dixie Carter and Jeff Jarrett. But that's the past, and this is a new journey and legacy. I say just give them a chance."
Absolutely, man. TNA, again, we covered it in the extra. It's a prolific thing. A lot of great history came out from it, and I'm really, really, really excited.
And also I think a lot of the fans kept referring to Impact Wrestling as TNA. I think that I feel like never really changed as far as like the fans are concerned. I think all of us had a hard time calling it Impact Wrestling.
Every single person,
because it was TNA for so many years. I know it's just easier to roll off the tongue and say TNA Wrestling.
Oh,
yeah, like especially like when
Impact.
something crazy happens, you go TNA.
Yeah,
and like
man.
here's the thing that I don't understand is like, how do you like go from like calling your company TNA Wrestling to like Impact Wrestling? I understand that like their weekly show was Thursday Night Impact, and I just don't get why they like made Impact like the whole company,
like the brand.
Yeah.
And like I feel like it messed a lot of things up for them because TNA was something unique, something special. And honestly, like with this rebuild, with Impact Wrestling, Scott D'Amore has done a fantastic job. And if there's anybody that I'm gonna trust with this new TNA Wrestling in 2024, it's him.
Yeah, I mean they've got the talent from the men's roster to the women's roster. I think they've got a pretty good women's division.
I think they got the best.
Trinity and Mickey James put on a heck of a match the other night. So
They did. I saw it. They did. It was nuts, and they just need a better TV deal, man. And, you know, Access TV is mostly for concerts and music. You know, like a lot of people don't go there for a lot of wrestling. You know.
Yeah, I mean, AEW definitely kind of taking that spot as like that solid number 2 with the TBS and TNT deals, which I'm hoping they renew those because I think that they're doing some really amazing stuff over there. But I think like the Paramount Network where they were before when it was called Spike TV, I think they should go back there.
Oh man, Spike TV was awesome.
Spike
Absolutely awesome.
Spike was awesome, but it was also you had to make sure at least you didn't have it on at 5 a.m. And if you lived with older folks and they weren't walking into your room.
Because I believe they had the show Thursdays and they had a repeat on Saturdays. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Oh, the
I do remember that.
The reruns. Yes.
Yep. Whenever I missed an episode, I would watch it on Saturdays.
Yep.
I do remember that.
Good old days.
Dude, 2005 to 2009 TNA wrestling for me, like I always enjoyed it a little bit more than WWE at that time. And a lot of people get shocked by that. I just really enjoyed the six-sided ring, the special matches that they had, the roster, so hungry. Like they had the TNA originals. You got Kurt Angle, Christian Cage, Sting, Jeff Jarrett.
Hardy.
Like the sky was the limit, man.
Abyss.
Absolutely.
They definitely had a pretty good roster at that time. And it's a shame that it didn't really have the promotion and marketing behind it that I feel like it's gotten.
Yeah.
But I definitely feel that both companies were pretty good at that point too.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I do agree with you 100% on that.
Oh, around that time wrestling was still thriving. He was still thriving.
We're getting back there.
You had so much star power. Like it was unbelievable.
Absolutely. But congratulations to @RogerPace3749 on the comment of the week. If you want to get your comment featured on a future episode of the We Are Wrestling podcast, all you got to do is go to the We Are Wrestling YouTube channel and leave a comment. But now let's dive into the topics for the We Are Wrestling podcast, episode 80. Our first topic. WWE has big promotional plans for Randy Orton's return to WWE, according to WrestleVotes. Regarding the Randy Orton return rumors, sources stated new merchandise and branding has been approved. Also, WWE will present a large social media promotion / digital material for the comeback. It's indeed happening. Likely Survivor Series or that weekend. What's your thoughts on WWE spoiling his return instead of keeping it as a surprise? Because obviously this year we got to see, Jade Cargill get announced and they went down, that route with, spoiling it. And it seems like the surprises are starting to not happen as much in wrestling.
I hate it. I absolutely hate it. Like just let it happen. Let him come out of nowhere. I hate that they announce it now because where's the shock factor? Where's the massive pops? If they know he's coming, it's going to be a big pop because we miss Randy, but it would have been nuts had it just not been said. It would have been nuts.
I feel like he's just been gone for ages now. Like it
year and a half.
Years. Yeah, year and a half. It's nuts.
Yeah. And that's the thing, man, with like Randy Orton. I understand why WWE is going down this route, but I feel like we need to find that balance for it to work. Because I think especially in 2023, like everything's spoiled. Dave Meltzer, all of these, wrestling, journalists out here and dirt sheets. They know everything. So it's very hard to keep things, under the radar. And of course, we did see that video leak at the Performance Center of Randy, walking in and then going.
He just starts dying. He just starts laughing, man. I get it, but at the same time, I'm like, it would have been so nuts. It would have been nuts Like, I even got
Yeah.
mad when they spoiled Batista's return back in 06.
Oh yeah.
I was pissed.
I'll say
I was pissed.
that was one of the worst decisions that they did was 2014 with Batista's return.
Yeah.
Announcing it. That I think really ruined his, second run in the company. at
It
that
really
time.
did.
Yeah.
But with Randy Orton though, like he's the type of guy where you don't need to like do a whole social media, marketing
Ratings,
thing
bro.
for him. Like he's the type
Viewership.
of person, he calls himself the Viper. He's a snake. Like he can come out of nowhere and hit you with an RKO and he's going to get the holy shit chant.
He's the legend killer. Calm down. Calm down.
Aggression.
Well, I'm just making the reference because snakes like to hide.
I know. I'm just joshing you.
And
But honestly, like I kind of like it though. Like with them doing the promotion thing, just I don't know with Randy Orton, I don't know.
in
No.
my opinion, I feel like shock returns can work in this day and time, and I'll give you 2 examples in the last 10 years.
Oh, I know where one of them is already, but yeah, go ahead.
Dudley Boys and Shane McMahon.
What about Edge? Like it wasn't really spoiled, but it was massive.
No,
that
I'm
was-
I'm
that-
sorry, man.
I mean, he had to
Receipts, they
defend
kinda
himself,
spoiled it.
but yeah, I was like, he had to defend himself, but yeah, I mean, I guess so, yeah. Shane McMahon, well, we just had an
Nobody's-
episode.
Nobody saw that return coming at all. I don't think I even saw that. I had this sneaking suspicion when they did that. I think it was like a ceremony they did in the ring where Vince
Yeah.
and Stephanie were out in the
Oh,
ring.
yeah, with the
And I was-
authority, right?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, how cool would it be to see Shane McMahon just pop up? And like 2 seconds later, his music hits.
Here comes the money.
But that was something that was really left like under the radar.
And he was in massive shape too, dude. Dude was in massive shape. I'm like, Shane?
And like, did you see the looks on Vince and Stephanie's faces when he came out? I was
Yeah.
like, that is priceless.
The Hardy Boys at WrestleMania also is a pretty honorable mention. Like, yeah, that almost got spoiled, but nobody saw that shit coming. Like, it was just like a what if, But no, that was massive.
Yeah, and it's like very hard because I know even with, Johnny Wrestling, he was actually able to keep it, low key as well. And he got that massive pop in, his hometown as well.
Carrying
So
Cross
I think
too
it
recently.
can work in 2023. It just depends. But with WWE having that big, social media marketing, I think that they're looking at it from the business side of it, doing this.
And
Because a
viewership.
lot of people, they're trying to get them back into wrestling
Mhm.
because we could all say
Marketing.
after the Thunderdome era and, the whole pandemic, a lot of us really fell back in love with pro wrestling.
Oh, no question. Like that was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
during COVID, like I was just watching every single episode of Raw and SmackDown that I could. I couldn't miss an episode because that was like the one thing I was looking forward to.
And
all
that's the
week.
thing, like during this time, it really brought a lot of people back. And especially with, competition always brings out the best in everybody. And I feel like WWE having that big, social media marketing, when they announce Randy Orton all over ESPN, this and that, I think it's going to draw some people to come back and say, let me see like what, Randy Orton's up to. And then they're going to watch the episode and then they're going to see how good WWE is striving right now.
Mhm.
And it's going to bring people back down this rabbit hole that we're stuck in and we're not coming out.
Oh yeah,
Now,
dude.
I will-
I'm in way too deep.
Now I
We have
will
our own
ask you
podcast, man. Oh, we're real deep.
Now, I will ask you both this. Now, I don't know if this is true or if this is going to happen or not, but there are rumors that CM Punk might resign with the company and will return at Survivor Series.
I think the whole thing that they're doing, like, I believe that he was at Impact. However,
Was
I
confirmed.
think he is going to be coming back in Chicago. I'm one of those believers that think that the whole them denying him was a fucking work. Oh, sorry. I think it's a work, 100%. I do think that, Randy Orton and CM Punk, that's going to be massive. That's going to be freaking huge. But at the same time, as great as he is a professional wrestler, he is way too toxic for any locker room at this point. So his credibility is shot. Like he should have stopped at All Out and just came back a reformed man. Just Yeah, there's a lot I could say, but yeah.
And I've already said, my thoughts on this a lot. So I will try to keep one short and sweet just to answer the question. I think it is a real possibility that CM Punk does show up in WWE, not at Survivor Series, but maybe in 2024. But I think what's best for CM Punk is, signing that deal with TNA Wrestling for maybe like 1 year and, really get them on the map, like fill up those arenas, let people, go back down that rabbit hole. And, even with a guy like CM Punk, I guarantee you they can get a solid TV deal with that. And that would really help the rebuild. Plus, Ace Steel, man, is now a part of it, which, that is our main event topic that we will be diving into, towards the end of the podcast. But honestly, it is a real possibility. I could definitely see it.
Oh, yeah.
But now, with that being said, let's move on to the next topic for this week's episode of the podcast. Will Ospreay is open to WWE. While speaking with Metro UK, he was asked about his future in pro wrestling since he becomes a free agent in early 2024 and said this. Although we've spent so much money on our new kitchen, we are open to the idea of relocating to the United States. It's on the table. That's all I could really say, he added. That means I am open to all options going forward, but now it's time for me to really gauge and see what's out there. So the Seth thing does intrigue me quite a lot. I heard him say in a promo, he is 100% the best in the world. While I could sit here comfortably and say I am one of the top wrestlers in the world right now, there is other things to learn. Do I have an ego about this stuff? Of course I do. Look at the catalog and look at what I've delivered, he said. Do you think WWE is a real possibility for Will Ospreay? Could you see him going over there?
Yeah. Will Ospreay is one of the best to ever grace a ring, period. And I've only seen the guy wrestle a handful of times to understand that even at 28, he is 28.
I believe so. He's like
28,
towards
something like
his 30s, I think.
Okay, so like at a very young age and, basically, rocking Wembley Stadium at this point, making a huge name for himself out in Japan. And just, again, the catalog, just like you said, what he's done in the business speaks for itself. And to have Will Ospreay a part of the WWE locker room in some way, man, nuts. There is so many matches I would love to see. Like, again, him and Seth, banger city. A match with him and Roman, banger city. There's a lot. AJ Styles, banger city. There is so many 5-star classics I could think of on the top of my head, like when it comes to WWE locker room. So yeah, there is a lot of people I would love to see Will Ospreay face off again. So I believe it is a full-on possibility.
And by the way, Will Ospreay is 30 years old.
Oh, okay.
Perfect timing. He's in his prime. What's your thoughts on this, Stanley?
I could definitely see him appear, if not at Rumble, definitely after WrestleMania. For sure, that's a good surprise. And I think with the influx of talent from other companies wanting to come to the company now with a new administration in charge and head of creative,
Triple H? Oh.
The possibilities are endless. So we'll have to see what happens. I think he could add some variety to the product, and it would definitely put some more eyes on it for sure.
So if this was 6 months ago, I would say you're absolutely delusional. Will Ospreay will never step foot in a WWE ring. But I really think, going into, this free agency, because in 2024, man,
a lot of
pro wrestling, this is
up.
one of the biggest free agent, classes in all of professional wrestling.
Yeah, McIntyre's contract is up too, I think.
And he hasn't even he hasn't even resigned yet.
And MJF, January 1st, 2024. And
I'm so excited.
The thing is, outside of, the We Are Wrestling podcast and, my love for professional wrestling, I am huge into sports. And when it comes to free agency, it really interests me a lot to see like where, players are going to go play for. And, with, pro wrestling, we haven't had a hot free agent class like this in such a long time. And
Massive.
With Will Ospreay, I think he is definitely the biggest name right now in the free agent class. And I do think realistically, he is going to end up in AEW. I think the schedule's lighter. Also, him being, already, ties with, Kenny Omega and the Don Callis family. I think that there's a lot of dream matches that, we haven't seen yet in AEW. And like Will Ospreay to me seems more of a professional wrestler than a sports entertainer. But when it comes to, WWE with Triple H and the way that he presented Jade Cargill to WWE, I think they could do the same exact thing with Will Ospreay and make him feel like $1 million. And if they do that, I could definitely see it happening.
Facts.
We'll just have to wait and see on that one. It's going to be an exciting time in the world of wrestling.
Yes, it is. Where do you think MJF's going to end up?
I kind of hope he goes to WWE. Strangely enough, I think
Same.
he's had a great run. He's had a great run in AEW. He's had a wonderful run there, but I don't know. It just feels like
it's time.
It's just time. He's that big of a star where I feel like he could afford to go there. And also I think it's good to see some talent go back and forth. Like, Edge is now in AEW.
Oh yeah.
So you've got him there. Gosh, who on the top of my head? I'm sure there's people that I'm thinking of that could go to AEW that were released from WWE.
Dolph Ziggler.
Dolph Ziggler would be a good pickup for them.
Nick
That'd
Nemeth.
be huge.
Elias. Rick.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a lot of people, especially with the women's division too. I think you've got Saraya there. You've got Toni Storm and Ruby Soho and Willow Nightingale. But I think if you had like a Mercedes or a Lacey Evans or somebody that I think could really take the women's division to a whole nother level, you'd have some.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I've been saying, man, with AEW with their women's division, because that's the thing, man. I think they have a great group of women wrestlers over there. I think they just need at least a star. If they can get that big star, I think, all of them will fall in line. Perfect.
I definitely think Saraya going to AEW definitely helped boost the women's division, but I think they need one or two more people that could really take it to that next level and really elevate it. Because I think WWE's got a lot of women right now. AEW does too, but if they want to get another TV deal, a mega TV deal, this would really help seal the deal for them.
If there's one name I could see eventually jumping ship and going to AEW, or that, not really say jumping ship, because realistically, I don't know if it would ever happen, but if there's one person that I could see in AEW successfully at one point and really helping move that division, it's Bayley. Bayley is one person I could see going to AEW, especially since Mercedes is going to be there eventually once she's done from injury or something like that. She's healing from injury. She's going to end up in AEW. I could see Bayley being the next one to go there and really making a name for herself while also putting over new talent and also bringing the huge push for the women's division as well.
I feel like that would be like such a brilliant signing because
oh yeah, dude.
I think that's how I'm going to say this, man. If they get Bayley and they get Mercedes Moné, having like half of the four horsewomen, that is going to make a huge difference. And honestly, I think the AEW women's division is going to be like the best if they can get that.
Oh, yeah.
I think they have a solid, group of, supporting cast. I think WWE does as well. Impact, I think right now has the best women's division, period.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that if they can get someone like Bayley and, Mercedes Moné, I think that they really could start, making some moves. And it's a real possibility.
And with Saraya there too. I mean, you got three women right there that definitely have been to the top, know what it's like, and definitely can help really train these next generation of talents, really start getting some people over.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely agree. But now speaking of, the women's division, AEW star Nyla Rose wants AEW to introduce tag team championships for the women's division. While speaking to Muscle Man Malcolm, she said this: "In all honesty, I've been pushing for this since day 37. I'm not going to say day one. I wanted the world title from day one, but after things settled a little bit, I've been pushing for women tag titles. I would love to not only win them, but also introduce them, bring them in. I would love to get the women's tag title. Whoop. Bring them in. Whoop. Lost myself there for a second. Look at that. Botching on the We Are Wrestling podcast. Would love to hold them with my tag partner, Marina Shafir. Do that, and then I could be an actual Grand Slam champion. Would you like to see tag team championships in the AEW women's division?
I think that's a no-brainer. I think it's a little silly that you made trios championships before women tag team championships. That's again another Tony Khan botch in the world of developing a wrestling promotion. But it's not too late. So I think it's a brilliant idea. I think that they could really benefit for another title, especially with how large the women's division in AEW already is. And it gives, a little bit of power, especially if you have somebody that's on, say Collision win it. They are, to me, are apt to have like some kind of passport to every single show. So you get to have like people that aren't really on TV win those titles, and then they're on Dynamite on Wednesday, and they're getting more face time. They're getting to see how the crowd reacts, seeing how it behaves on the show, and that speaks for itself right there. So I feel like, that's a brilliant idea. No brainer.
You hit the nail on the head. I think the women's roster in AEW is stacked to the brim. Mm-hmm. And with all these different shows around, it's good to have another set of titles that gives something for the ladies to fight for and motivates them to really become top stars in the company. WWE, they've got a tag scene as well. Unfortunately, it's suffered some hurdles as of late. People getting hurt, and a few people have said it's a cursed division. Yeah, it's crazy.
I know. I do love what Chelsea Green's done with the titles, though.
Oh, yeah. Dude, she is probably one of the most entertaining parts of Raw. Definitely one of the best signings I think the company's made in the last few years.
Oh yeah, man.
As far as the women are concerned, she's killing it, knocking it out of the park every time. So for her to have this title run is well deserved.
You know what's funny? Like that I find so hilarious? All of these Triple H guys and girls, all they do is just text Triple H. Can I have my job back in WWE?
Like, yeah,
Triple H says, sure, come to Raw or come to SmackDown.
See you on Friday.
I love how simple it is. But I do got to say this. I see where you're coming from. I, totally think that we should get women tag team championships. But I don't think the women's division in AEW is stacked enough yet to get those titles. And if we do introduce the tag titles to, the women's division, what I need AEW to do first is get rid of all these Ring of Honor championships and separate Ring of Honor from AEW.
I need a dummy button. I need a good old Eli Drake dummy button just so I can hit it every time you have a clashing right now. But
here's the thing though. With AEW, you've got like 3 shows right now. And with those 3 shows, you've got so many people just like coming through each program. And I think they could benefit from having a brand split, which is I think they can.
I agree.
What they were trying to do with Collision with Punk, but with Adam Copeland there, he could be the front and center of that show and just have a separate roster with different people. And I think it could work, honestly, because they have the talent to do it. Like, they're signing people left and right, whether you're a woman or a man. And so why not give more opportunities? And from there, you can build a division and give the ladies something to fight for.
It's unfortunate because
I think that would help the women's division out a lot.
Yeah, and Tony Khan, this is what I'm talking about. He's collecting wrestlers like action figures. Exhibit A in the background of Homeboy's back. Like, that's literally what Tony's doing it. He's collecting people so they don't go anywhere. So when the time comes that he has a bright idea, he has them in his arsenal. And that's not making anybody happy at the end of the day. And this is where I'm talking about. You have a stacked roster, get some titles.
Yeah, we need to get rid of, I think the biggest issue with TK, man, is 2 things. The first one, he just needs to just, stay on the sidelines, stop, featuring yourself in everything. Who cares? Keep investing, keep writing the shows, stay low key. And then the second thing, we need to separate Ring of Honor and AEW because I feel like having, all of these Ring of Honor championships on Dynamite, Rampage, and, Collision, I feel like you're like really taking away from AEW. Save the Ring of Honor titles for their show on Honor Plus if people want to pay, $10. I know I'm not paying $10 for it. But moving on now to our next topic here. The Nature Boy Ric Flair appeared on AEW Dynamite this past Wednesday as TK's gift to Sting. During this segment, Sting was putting Darby Allin over as the greatest tag partner he's ever had. He was interrupted by Christian Cage, Luchasaurus, and Nick Wayne, challenging Sting and Darby and whoever they want at Full Gear in a six-man tag match. What's your thoughts on Flair's first appearance with AEW?
I saw this coming. We talked about this actually briefly, and I think at the beginning of the episode or maybe off camera, but it's hard to be excited because it's like Ric Flair he retired like 6 times and never left our screens or our phones. Like, so it's hard to be like, oh my God, it's Ric Flair, when I definitely could have called that like yesterday. Yeah, it just... Is it cool for storyline purposes? Sure. If it does if it operates the way you need it to operate, in terms of what you're going for your product, awesome. But I'm probably the least hyped one here about it, just because it's Ric Flair. He's not really a fan of matches that don't involve his daughter. So I don't know. I have a varying opinion, I guess, from everybody else, but yeah.
So, Stanley, what's your thoughts on Ric Flair's appearance?
I was kind of surprised in the fact that I thought he was still under contract to WWE or still had some kind of affiliation with them, but it was a welcome surprise. I mean, what would a Turner Network wrestling show be without the Nature Boy? It wouldn't be a Turner Network wrestling show without Ric Flair on there. So come on, for the nostalgia alone, I was pretty excited about it. As far as him wrestling, though, I think Flair's done enough. I think he's had a heck of a career, a wonderful career. He actually wrestled his most recent final match here in Nashville at the Fairgrounds in a tag match. So I think he's done everything that he could do. So I wouldn't mind him managing someone, coming back to be a manager. But I think that, he's done everything he can as a wrestler.
Yeah.
I do totally agree with that. I think that this was, a nice surprise because obviously, like, everything we've seen with Ric Flair, the last, few years has been, bad, headlines and, his daughter, putting her over and stuff and, his horrible last match that he had. But very smart and very marketable, though. Made a lot of money doing that. And got the whole, wrestling world together, including, AEW, WWE, and just legends all over the world. I will give him credit for that, but I feel like his time, in the ring, it's over. He's had one legendary career. He should have ended it with Shawn Michaels. That was the perfect retirement. But honestly, for him appearing, I think that this is a great move for, the WCW nostalgia, for, TBS and TNT. Just seeing him and Sting in that ring, because remember, they were the last match on, Nitro ever in that company's history. So I feel like, that this was a really cool heart, warming moment because, with Sting and Ric Flair, they talk highly of each other, outside the ring, and they're very close. And I think that this was a genuine surprise. Sting did not expect, to see Ric Flair. And I'm kind of excited to see what they do, but I hope Full Gear Ric Flair is not that mystery partner in the match.
No, it's gonna be Adam Copeland.
Yeah,
it's gonna be.
Yeah, it's gotta be. It's gotta be Adam. But I got it. Like, the best part about the Ric Flair thing, in my opinion, was the Christian Cage thing, which I did put over as my highlight of the week.
The drip's mine.
I feel Christian Cage has definitely done some of his best work outside of WWE in AEW.
This is his best period.
I think he's got a personality like that I've never seen before. It's awesome, really.
Oh man, it's great.
Dude, the work that he's doing right now is amazing, and I loved his TNA run as Christian Cage, when he first left WWE in '05. But what he's doing right now is just, in 2023, to get the heat that he's getting, you can't
You
The
can't do
shit that
it.
he's saying.
It's like, do you remember his run in '05 in WWE as a heel, like when he was with Tomko?
Yes, I do.
This feels like that, but like on
With Luchasaurus.
Like infinite times infinity.
Oh yeah, he's on fire right now. There's like no level to this. He just keeps going.
That same Christian Cage, or that same Christian in WWE, it feels like it's kind of on that level, but it's like on a whole nother level.
He doesn't need Tomko anymore.
No,
he's got Luchasaurus now.
Yeah, Man Dino.
Yeah,
and he's got his son Nick Wayne too.
Yeah,
his new son. Yeah, his newfound son.
And our last regular topic for this week's episode of the podcast, AEW. I know there's a lot of AEW, Ben. I apologize to you. AEW has announced a new Huh?
So what is this thing about me hating AEW, dude? I've been chilling this whole time. I
know in this episode, but a lot of the times when we have AEW stuff, it does grind your gears.
Hey, that was a long time ago, man. All right, I am a more cultured man now.
You are, I gotta stop holding on to the past. You're right. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt.
That's
but
how I move forward,
AEW
man.
has announced, a new pay-per-view that's going to be taking place Saturday, December 30th, World's End in Long Island, New York. What's your thoughts on this new pay-per-view for AEW?
Cool. Like they're stacking up on another pay-per-view, I guess. I mean, it's another place to have another pay-per-view rather than every 3 months. They're going to have like one of like a little special minor pay-per-view, one of those sub pay-per-views, not like the big five, but one of those. I can't really say much more than that because they announced the pay-per-view, but what's the uniqueness about it? Like, what is there a huge stipulation at the end? Is there a special match being planned?
Here's why I wanted to talk about this on this week's episode.
All right, shoot.
Saturday, December 30th. This is taking place in Long Island, New York.
Yeah.
The most magical place in the world. MJF's hometown.
Oh, Lord.
And this could potentially be MJF's last match in AEW.
Oh, wow. They made a whole pay-per-view for it. Yeah, dude. Wow,
in Long Island.
Yeah, we're talking about MJF's contract coming up.
Yeah.
January 1st. And Dynamite is not going to, after December 30th, Dynamite, that's after the contract expires.
That is actually very intriguing. I did not know that. Okay, well, with that being
what's your
said,
thoughts on this?
the main event about to be fucking nuts, and he's definitely going to drop the title to somebody else. That's what, and then he's
he leaves.
Bye-bye. Yeah, so I'm saying if he loses the title, you have your answer right there. So it's going to be massive. So if he drops the title, he's gone. He has it still, he signed an extension or another few years. So I'm really excited about that now. So yeah, I'm stoked.
What's your thoughts on this, Stanley?
It's kind of a matter of will he, won't he sort of thing. Definitely in terms of the pay-per-view, great exposure for the company, obviously, with the branding and everything like that. Got to get your product out there as much as possible. But yeah, this is like one of those things where if MJF loses, he's gone. If he retains, he's going to stick around. It's kind of like one of those like negotiating tactics to kind of keep him in the fold.
Yeah.
If it's going to be in his hometown. So maybe this could lead him to staying to get that hometown win. But if not, he's had a great run there.
Phenomenal. He's made some of the most memorable moments.
Yeah, he's had great moments there, faced a lot of people there, legends, originals. So if he does leave AEW and go to WWE, I mean, what better place to leave and drop the belt, right?
Yeah, like literally like the day before like 2 days before your contract's up, it's in your hometown. You've literally done everything that you had to do. Like there's not much left for MJF to do in AEW. He's basically done it all. Yeah, so there's not much more that he can do really in AEW. I feel like he's at a point now where if he were to go to WWE, it's time, you know? My only concern is what are they going to do with his kind of character? Because MJF is unfiltered. He's basically like the more negotiable CM Punk.
Well,
pay him a certain amount of money and he'll steal it.
Here's the thing, though. Look at Cody Rhodes and look at his character since he's been back in WWE. They haven't really, watered him down. They've kind of kept him the same. With Jade Cargill remains to be seen, but I think she'll have a fair shake there as well, in my prediction.
Yeah.
So who knows? Who knows at this point? I think MJF could definitely be a top player. I think as a top babyface, I think he could work as a top heel. We'll have to see, especially with Roman, if he loses the title next year to Cody Rhodes. I think you could have a whole nother sea of challengers. I think MJF would be a good opponent for him if he's a heel in WWE. So who knows?
Could you imagine him popping up at Mania right after Cody freaking wins? Like that's his first match
that
back.
Starts the next program. For the next
Cody
year.
wins, and all of a sudden cue MJF's music.
If they get the rights to it, yeah.
They
It's
can. That's a
WWE.
YouTube song. MJF does have royalty rights for that.
Imagine the pop. He leaves AEW in January, takes a few months off, comes back chiseled as ever to tease the next feud with Cody Rhodes, the new Universal Champion. That would be insane booking, bro. I would lose my shit. I would lose my shit.
Wow. Okay.
I planted the seed.
And I think that's like the best thing. That's the best take you've ever given on this podcast.
I think it is, and
it
I'm
took
tingling.
80 episodes to do that. So
My face is tingling.
Round of applause.
My face is tingling.
So here's my thoughts on this. You definitely got me more excited now, MJF to WWE.
Oh man.
But I'm gonna be completely honest here. MJF is still very young. I feel like he is going to sign a 5-year deal with AEW because TK is going to give him a contract that, he's probably, hasn't given anybody. I think, like, even going back to WCW, they talk about how great Hulk Hogan's contract was, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash. I think MJF is going to be getting a lot of freaking money in this deal. And I think it's going to be money that he can't turn down. And I see, him running with AEW for another 5 years as the face of the company. And then I think after the 5 years, is up, then MJF, will go to WWE because that's everybody's dream at the end of the day is, to main event a WrestleMania or, hold the WWE championship.
But what better way than to debut right after the main event of WrestleMania of night 2? What a fucking way, dude.
That would cause a lot of talk.
That
and
is
you
like
already
a
build him as
perfect
main
world
event
scenario.
guy, putting him in there with Cody.
God,
well, hopefully Triple H pitches that to MJF because I think that because a lot of people think that if MJF goes to WWE, wait before you say what you're gonna say,
I'm gonna further the story.
Hold on, before you further the story, I do want to say this. All right,
okay.
When it comes to MJF, I do think that he is the type of talent where a lot of people talk about how, if he goes to WWE, he's going to be a mid-card guy or he's going to be a jobber.
No.
I think he is the type of generational talent that he can make anything work. The guy literally got double clothesline and a kangaroo kick over. I think that regardless, wherever he goes, he's a top guy.
Bro.
He's going to be a world champion. He's going to be the face.
Furthering story right fucking now. What if this whole thing gets switched? All right. Cody wins. Boom. Massive pop. He dethroned Roman. He finished the story. Da-da-da-da-da. Boom. MJF's music. Even more massive pop. Don't book MJF as a heel right off the bat. Have him be the babyface and have Cody turn heel for the first time in a long time because now he's pissed that he just got it back and the fans are instantly turning on him. That would further the story and allow also Cody to organically go heel.
Or they could do exactly what they did in AEW when they first, started the promotion. MJF, is Cody's best friend. And, they can start it off that way. And then you can have MJF turn heel.
Donnie, I'm sorry, but I have to disagree because if MJF shows up in WWE, he's way too hot to hate right off the bat. You can't. Like, he could do anything and nobody's booing him.
Not hot as Cody, man.
Oh, you don't say. Okay, all right. Go to the main event.
A lot of people were upset that Roman retained. I was one of the people that thought Roman was going to lose.
I thought he was too.
I thought he was
I
gonna lose.
genuinely thought he was, and when he didn't, dude, that was like the saddest and most somber ending to any live stream we've ever done because it was just silent and we were just pissed.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think, with this World's End pay-per-view, this is a brilliant idea, great marketing, because obviously Long Island, New York, they are teasing the MJF, free agency, which is very smart. And honestly,
I get to build a timeline.
I'm going to say this. This reminds me a lot of Armageddon. Because Armageddon was always the last, pay-per-view in WWE.
Yeah, December.
And here's what I think is going to happen. Because right now in AEW, if you've been watching it, everybody is targeting MJF. And I think the main event of this pay-per-view, they're going to do some type of big, like, 6-man, scramble match. And MJF's going to have to face everybody at once. He's going to have to deal with Roderick Strong. He's going to have to deal with Wardlow, Samoa Joe, Jay White. And honestly, I think, that would be like the best scenario you could do for, World's End. Like, that's a perfect main event. You can add Kenny Omega in there.
I already got the story chiseled out for after, so.
Exactly. And it can go any direction because the fans, they know MJF's contract's up. You have all of these guys like Wardlow who, people have really wanted him to be a world champion. Samoa Joe could take that next step. Kenny Omega had a dominant run. Jay White's, doing really good work. So, like, you can go in so many directions with this and make it work. But the only thing that scares me about MJF leaving is, not finishing the story with Adam Cole.
That's a lesser thing, though. So, I mean, like, at this point, he doesn't need to. Dude is just, he's good either way.
Yeah, but
like, if he stays,
needs that finished story, man. They've invested a lot of time into it.
And how many other stories have they invested into that they just dropped? So, I mean, the booking doesn't even make sense half the time. So, who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, you're not wrong at all. But before we get, back into, more of the We Are Wrestling podcast, Stanley, where can, the We Are Wrestling Maniacs catch you on?
Yes, so we're on Facebook. You can type in Wrestling with Heart with Stanley Karr. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on X at WWHWSK, Wrestling with Heart with Stanley Karr. We're on Instagram at Wrestling with Heart. We're on Threads at Wrestling with Heart. And we're on YouTube at Wrestling with Heart with Stanley Karr. You can find us on there. Find us on all those platforms. Our content's on there. Look for us on all, if not most, if not all podcast platforms. We're on all those.
Perfect. It's been a
Love
pleasure,
having
man.
you on here. Got to, talk about Wrestling with Heart. And, we even got to, talk some wrestling as well. And we appreciate having you on
This
here.
is one of the most fun episodes we've done in a long time, I gotta say, for sure.
Oh, man, I'm just happy to be a part of it. And thanks to you guys. You guys put on a heck of a podcast each week. I enjoy listening to it.
Thank you, man. I appreciate
And
that.
hey, we appreciate that.
November 25th, we're going to be at WrestleCade in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. So come see us there. We've got a booth. A lot of town are going to be there. Devon Dudley's going to be there. Abdullah the Butcher, Alicia Fox, Brian Danielson, Teddy Long. I believe Kane's going to be there as well. A lot of people, a lot of wrestlers are going to be there. We're going to be there. So come say hello.
Yeah,
That's right, guys. Come
stacked.
say what's up to Stanley, man. We appreciate having you on the podcast. But up next, Ben and I, we are going to be doing the Getting Put Over segment where, we put a wrestler over, talk about their career, and, of course, the main event topic. We'll be right back with more We Are Wrestling Podcast, episode 80.
Hey, what's up, players? WWE Hall of Famer Teddy Long, and you are listening to the We Are Wrestling Podcast. And if you don't listen to it, then it's one-on-one with The Undertaker.
One thing We Are Wrestling recommends you to do is support your local independent promotions. They are the stars of tomorrow. And you never know, sometimes when you go to these shows that might only have 10 to 30 people, you could be seeing the next future WWE champion, maybe even the next AEW star. And through the years, I've always been a huge advocate to supporting independent wrestling. And you can't go wrong. It's a cheap night out, you get a good time with the family, and you get to watch some good old wrestling. Independent wrestling, that's where usually a young professional wrestler starts their career. And having these opportunities to perform in front of crowds is a great way to get exposure to where they will eventually be on your television screen watching them every week. We recommend you guys to support indie wrestling. We're back, and man, that was really cool to have Stanley here on the We Are Wrestling podcast.
Super fun.
And to all the We Are Wrestling Maniacs out there, we are going to be doing this more often. We are going to start, bringing some people in, throughout, different episodes and stuff. All depends on, the wrestling news and stuff. And, if you guys really enjoyed this, let us know for sure. Because, we definitely want to, start doing new things here on the podcast. And we can always do extras, when it comes to the wrestling news and stuff. But every week on the podcast, we do this thing called the Getting Put Over segment, where every week, Ben and I, we alternate, we pick, a wrestler from the past, current, or future, and we put that star over. Talk about some of our favorite matches, some of our favorite, highlights of, the wrestler. And last week, Ben buried Declan McMahon, but he put over Vince McMahon. This week, I'm going, down, a new route. And Alex Johnson, I'm sorry, it's not Liv Morgan. If you want that to be, getting put over, Ben, you'll be the one to pick that. But this week, we are going to be putting over TNA Hall of Famer, the Monster Abyss.
Abyss.
And you know me, man, I love me some old school TNA, so I'm excited to, put Abyss over.
Why don't you start it off here, brother?
Oh, I will start it off, man. Abyss was one of my favorite, characters back in the day, watching, TNA, because he was so different. And I love that, they pretty much, built a lot of, solid feuds around him. And he really brought the, extreme to TNA, because he had, some great matches with Jeff Hardy, great matches with Raven, great matches with Sabu even. And I think that, Abyss really stood out because he was very different on the roster, full of, great athletes and, professional wrestlers.
In a lot of ways, I think I always resonated with Abyss because he was definitely like a hulked out Mankind, and he was willing to go to the same lengths as Mankind, for in terms of the fans, for entertainment, for the passion of the business. And he's also a very well-known producer of the shows. Like he worked in WWE for a little bit, Unmasked.
Still does?
Yeah, he still does, and it just... Abyss is one of those people that his legacy is just going to live on through, the halls and the ages of wrestling forever, man. He has had some incredible moments. And with, the segment Getting Put Over, we talk about some of our favorite highlights, some of our favorite moments with the person we're putting over. I got to say, one of my favorite matches, and you reminded me of it when you said the last name, Sabu. Fucking at Turning Point 2005, the barbed wire massacre match. That's one of my. That's my favorite.
On the ropes, man. I remember
that is my favorite match between Abyss and honestly Sabu. Period. Like that was one of the most brutal fucking matches I've ever seen, and both really fucking put on a hell of a show.
Dude, that was such a great match, and I love Sabu's, short run in TNA. Because when they had him, appear, it always was something entertaining. And I think
shit was about to go down.
Working with somebody like Abyss, who loves the violence, loves the extreme. Mm-hmm. I really enjoyed, his work with Sabu. But my favorite matches with Abyss have got to be with Jeff Hardy, man. I'm talking Final, Resolution 2005 against all, odds in 2005. And they're really, I love the Destination X match the most.
Now, correct me if I'm
Jeff
wrong.
Hardy, man, did the swanton off the roof onto Abyss.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. This was right before Jeff returned to WWE back in the Halloween season of 06, right?
So this was early
right
2005.
Okay,
then he was, and then Jeff Hardy, I believe, was in a Monsters Balls match at Bound for Glory. That was October 2005. Then they weren't really booking him that much in TNA.
And then he returned to WWE.
Went to WWE.
Gotcha. Okay.
But that's the thing about Abyss that I really liked too, was the Monster Ball match. It was basically a fatal 4-way death match. And they would, do this every year. I believe, TNA, they're still doing this to this day. But the Abyss ones, nothing beat an Abyss Monster Balls match.
Yeah, Abyss, dude, especially for his size, even like the early days towards, the latter end of his in-ring career, the dude can just move, man. And anybody, and like I said, he's like a hulked out Mankind that can move. So it's just like, could you imagine the intimidation it must be standing in a ring with him and working a match of any capacity? It could be like a clean match. I would be particularly terrified of anything Extreme Rules match. Like, it must be absolutely daunting. And I would love to hear some stories from, some of the rivals and the opponents that he's had, throughout his career, and see what they thought of working with Abyss, because I know that like off camera, he's one of like the most genuine, down to earth, like nicest dudes that there is.
Yeah. And he always, he never went into business for himself. He always wanted to put his opponents over in any situation. And the thing that I really love and, admire about Abyss is his loyalty to TNA wrestling, because there was a time in 2007, believe it or not, where WrestleMania 23, they were going to have Abyss beat The Undertaker for the World Championship at WrestleMania.
What the fuck?
Dude, WWE wanted Abyss versus Undertaker at WrestleMania, and Abyss was loyal to TNA. And he actually, turned down the offer from WWE and, stayed in TNA.
What ifs, man?
The biggest what ifs. But now, let's talk about some of the rivalries he's had. Because I feel like when it came to like TNA, television, obviously like we had our main event, feuds and stuff.
Yeah.
And Abyss, always was in solid, mid-card storylines throughout his time in TNA.
Mm-hmm.
So like, what are, some of the feuds that you enjoyed, throughout his run, with TNA?
With how sporadic I watched TNA, especially like, with living in a Catholic household, especially a Thursday night, it was really, really hard to catch a lot of like the shows as they were going on. I would usually be able to catch them Saturday if I was able to, having one TV in the house realistically. And it was hard to catch. But one that I really luckily and was very fortunate to really see kind of unfold was his rivalry with AJ Styles back in 2005. That was
the lockdown match?
Yes, precisely. That is something that I was really, really fucking into, because obviously styles of, their moveset aside, the size difference, what these two people could do in a ring and have such good chemistry and to craft such an incredible match, man. It was just exciting. And that was one of actually the first exposures to Abyss I ever got. And I remember being petrified. Because you also got to remember, dude's voice already sounds monstrous. So it's
his entrance was amazing too. The da, 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 da.
Yes. And I loved when he had like almost those like jail, like asylum jumpsuits. Like it was around that time.
Crazy hospital.
The fucking pure white fucking jumpsuit with the fucking crazy ass. Like I think it was like black mask that like covered like his mouth partially and shit. I was like, dude, that's fucking insane. Like Abyss, so many fucking what ifs, man. And just that rivalry was just so damn good. And I was really into it.
And like for me, obviously, I loved, playing with my wrestling figures, growing up. And I remember, finding my first Abyss figure at Toys R Us. And dude, in my fig fed, Abyss, he was a main eventer. I loved, putting him through tables. And
he was a main eventer.
I would actually like grab like thumbtacks, like for real, and I would put them in my ring, and I would have him do his black hole slam onto them, and I would get like my fingers bleeding and stuff because of it. Dude,
dumb.
I went in when it came to, my wrestling.
Hardcore playing.
Don't try this at home. But when it comes to Abyss, a couple feuds that I really enjoyed during his time with TNA, there's two of them that really stand out to me. The first one has got to be with Stevie Richards when, he was Dr. Stevie. And this is when, Abyss, was, in the crazy hospital, the funny farm, and pretty much, Dr. Stevie was trying to control Abyss's anger. But then, like, Dr. Stevie would, abuse him. And then eventually it got to the point where, Abyss, finally had enough of it. And the monster, came back, got a massive reaction. And I just remember, that feud, I really enjoyed it. And that was some of like Stevie Richards' best work as well. Somebody that I really, enjoyed. I feel like one of the most underrated, wrestlers out there.
Mm-hmm.
Doing amazing on YouTube too, by the way.
Yeah.
But my second feud that I really enjoyed a lot was, I believe in 2007, he feuded with a guy named Judas Macias.
Mm-hmm.
And this is around the time where, Father James Mitchell turned on Abyss, and we got this new monster. And dude, the way they presented this guy, oh my goodness, was fantastic. And some of, the matches that they had, at the pay-per-views, I really enjoyed a lot. And I feel like Judas Macias could have been, a big star in TNA, but I feel like they kind of, missed that opportunity.
Gotcha.
But dude, Abyss, his work was fantastic. I really, enjoyed a lot of his matches. I enjoyed the presentation the most because, like, the promos, they were very, they were real. They were fantastic. And I think having Father James Mitchell as his manager really added a lot to the character that I really liked a lot. But that's the thing, like, I do, even though, putting him over, we put him over during the early days of TNA. And yeah, now I might have to put him under a little bit because during the Hulk Hogan.
Nope. This is called the putting over segment. We don't put anybody fucking under. No, I'm cutting your ass off right there. So unless you got something else good to say, don't say it. Nope. I'm calling the
So we're not going to talk about Joseph Parks.
No, we're not talking about Joseph Parks. We're not talking about Joe Parks' actual name. No, we're talking about Abyss.
Okay, I actually do have something past 2009 that I could put Abyss over for.
Okay, we only put over. This is called the getting put over segment. We're not focusing on lows.
All right. And I'm not gonna put his time with Hulk Hogan over. I didn't really like that, but I am gonna put this over. He was in this really cool group tag team called Decay with Crazy Steve and Rosemary. I really enjoyed their tag team. I think it was definitely something unique, something special during a time where a lot of people weren't tuning into Impact Wrestling, and they came out to Marilyn Manson, the Nobodies, and
that's sick.
Such a sick presentation, man. Definitely something I highly recommend you check because you would definitely put him over.
Oh yeah,
you put that whole like group over. I feel like.
Oh, I believe it. I have no doubt.
And I think it worked out too around that time because Abyss was, slowing down in the ring because of, the wear and tear from all those Monster Balls matches. So I think putting him with a guy like Crazy Steve really worked. And I really enjoyed their work, with the Hardys. They did the whole, the compound match. I think it's the ultimate like deletion or something. Yeah. But if there was somebody that, if there's anybody out there that you would love to like fantasy book against Abyss, who would it be?
Bray Wyatt.
Oh my god, damn.
And I don't have to say anything of it, just Bray Wyatt, because they would make magic in itself. So Bray Wyatt would be who I would choose.
I would love that if like Abyss was going against like Bray Wyatt around the time where like he had the Wyatt family.
Yep.
Eater of Worlds, exactly. So if I had to pick like my dream opponent for, Abyss, ooh, man. I do love that with Bray Wyatt.
I said I fucked you up, didn't I?
You fucked me up. Honestly, I'm going to have to steal your answer. I'm going to have to go with Bray Wyatt.
So it's a collective effort. Okay.
Maybe him and Braun Strowman in like a death match. That'd be pretty cool. Well, I'm talking about Braun Strowman when he first came like into WWE, like a part of the Wyatts as like the black.
Got
sheep.
you. A little bit more unhinged Braun Strowman. Yeah. Okay. All right. I can see that.
Yeah. And Abyss, he had a fantastic, run in TNA. He was a Hall of Famer. He also won the NWA, World Heavyweight Championship. He was also, a former tag team champion as well.
Mhm.
And he was one of the guys that, is one of the biggest what ifs because, not a lot of
It's
people get that
unfortunate.
opportunity to work with The Undertaker at WrestleMania.
And to win a title of all things and end a fucking streak. Like, come on, man. Come on, man. But I have
Yeah.
to give him his loyalty is top shelf 100, though. I mean, I do have to give that to him as he stayed loyal to something that he knew. And, I can't fault anybody for that.
And I love that, like, he's still a producer in WWE to this day. He's doing
Yeah.
a fantastic job there. And having somebody that, has been so loyal and sacrificed probably a lot of money for,
A lot of
this
fucking
up and
life,
coming
too.
company. Like, I'm really happy that WWE, keeps him employed and, he's a part of it.
Yeah.
Even though I would love to, meet Abyss again and, get the opportunity to like really like hear him on podcasts and stuff about some of these iconic moments. It is cool to see that like he's still, employed and still doing something in the business.
For sure.
So, yeah. This week, we put over the Monster Abyss. And let us know in the comment section below your favorite Abyss moments. And next week, Ben will be able to put somebody over because I picked Abyss this week. Are we going to get a clue or are you going to wait? Or are you just going to spoil it?
No, I'm probably going to just fucking spoil it, honestly.
All right, who's next week?
Next week on We Are Wrestling 81.
Please tell
Person
me
that
it's nobody in the McMahon family.
Done.
Yeah.
It is somebody in the McMahon family technically because the next person is Triple H. Triple H. I feel like there's been enough time now to where I can genuinely put over Triple H for what he has been doing for his career, obviously. Going through the history, favorite moments, favorite matches, and also his WWE, fucking suit career. Like seeing what the hell he's doing now and what he's done, his corporate career, so I think there's been enough time now that he's been over where I can put him over for a lot of select things. So
honestly, I'm going to
H.
say this. I really like that a lot.
Triple H.
And I got to say this. I really like how, like, we're alternating this every week, the getting put over. And, like, you're putting over, like, big, talent. And then I'm always picking the underrated guys. I kind of like what we got going on here.
Yeah.
So, guys, next week, the Getting Put Over segment, we're going to be putting over Triple H.
Game.
So stay tuned for that. Time to play the game. But with that being said, we're getting to the final level here because we have the main event topic for the We Are Wrestling podcast, episode 80. And, man, Phil Brooks, he loves to be the main event topic because last weekend at Bound for Glory, it was reported that Ace Steel, one of, CM Punk's best friends, is working as a producer for TNA Wrestling. The next tapings after Bound for Glory the next day, CM Punk visited backstage. He spoke to top talents like Will Ospreay, Josh Alexander, and Kazarian. Impact actually offered Punk to appear at Bound for Glory that Saturday, but respectfully declined. Went to his Chicago Blackhawks game instead. Do you think it's a real possibility CM Punk joins TNA now?
I think at this point, CM Punk would probably join NWA. He needs to find somewhere.
Speaking of NWA,
What?
Billy Corgan actually, during an interview with like some type of like podcast, he actually gave his pitch to CM Punk.
Oh.
Pretty much said, if you want to have fun, I can't give you the money you want, but if you want to have fun, you can come over to NWA. You'll have a great time.
Hey.
Hey, he took his shot though. Gotta give him credit.
Exactly. But no, obviously it's a possibility. I mean, it's fucking CM Punk, but obviously he declined to appear because there's other things afoot, and I'm one of those believers. So, I can see where, there's definitely some flirtatious idea of it. I can definitely understand where one would think so because his best friend is now, a producer in the company. He did a small stint back in the day with them. And if anybody could get them a TV deal, get them some exposure, it's CM Punk. However, by declining to appear, one, it could have been legal because, obviously it's still not enough time since he's been let go from AEW. Two, we're getting CM Punk teases all over WWE television. Let's face it. I'm gonna address that elephant in the room right now. We've been getting teases constantly.
Yeah,
he straight up said 2 months. That could be a work.
What doesn't help either is like all these wrestlers that keep like doing these teases, like they keep responding to all the criticism, and they're like, "No, I say that regularly."
Yeah, exactly. And then like even the GTS the other fucking night, I'm like, okay, come on, come on, like, all right, how big's the glizzy? Like, let's 100%, dude. Like, I just want to know. I genuinely believe that the whole him not going to WWE is a work. So. Is it a possibility for Impact? Of course. I feel like that's the only place that will realistically, other than NWA, will respectfully take him in. But I don't think CM Punk wants to wrestle in front of nobody right now, especially with the no TV deal at the moment. So I'm gonna, that's where I'm gonna end it.
Yeah,
He needs to rebuild his image somewhere.
And that's the thing too. Like you also have to consider as well, because Impact, is owned right now by Anthem Sports, and they do have some money to play around with, but not CM Punk money. So CM Punk, if he wanted to,
CM Punk money,
if CM Punk wanted to join, AEW, like he would have to take that SpongeBob and Squidward pay cut at the Krusty Krab.
He said they don't have CM Punk money. Why don't we go out and get CM Punk? Do you have CM Punk money?
That's why like I do think like realistically WWE is the real possibility here. And I'm not even trying to bury TNA saying that. Like they're doing incredible with this rebuild, but I don't know if CM Punk is going to transition. I think the only way realistically he would transition is if the rumors are true and WWE has, zero interest in bringing him back, because he would need to go somewhere that, he can fix his reputation.
That's what I'm saying.
And the only place I can think of is Impact, because it does make sense that, this could be a real possibility, because Ace Steel, his best friend, he also, left AEW with him, and now he's working with Impact. Plus, CM Punk does have, relationships with some of the guys and the girls backstage in TNA.
All I can say, man, we'll know for sure November 25th. That's all I'm going to say. Sure. Either November 25th or the 27th because of Raw. So,
or we find out the very first pay-per-view, Hard to Kill, for TNA.
So between November and January,
be something
we'll know.
That we're going to have to, really keep our eyes on, because a lot of things can happen. And it's funny because CM Punk, in interviews right now, he's pretty much saying
he's playing coy.
Like he's pretty much playing stupid with it. Yeah. He says, "Oh, they want me to come back. Right now, I'm just currently sitting at home, taking care of Larry because he tore his dog ACL. And I'm just, chilling right now."
Nice.
Waiting for the phone call. But honestly, like, definitely excited to see, where, this goes with CM Punk. I think that, it's going to be interesting. I definitely do see him in WWE at some point, because we know he's not going to let TK, be having that over his head.
He's not going to have the last
match he ever had was at All In at Wembley Stadium. No way in hell his last match will be under TK.
It's going to be under WWE, because the only thing he hasn't done on his huge ass bucket list is main event WrestleMania.
And if there's a time that he can main event WrestleMania, it's now, because there's not one night, there's 2 nights.
Yeah, bitch.
Absolutely. But is there anything else before we close off this week's episode?
My guy, that's the end of the show.
I think so. It's a wrap. But to all the We Are Wrestling Maniacs out there worldwide, let us know in the comment section below your thoughts on all the topics that we covered this week. We highly recommend you guys go listen to the Wrestling with Hearts with Stanley. What he's doing on there is incredible, shedding light on the positive side, of professional wrestling. And if there's any time, we can, acknowledge, some positivity, I think it's a good thing. And honestly, it was really cool to have, Stanley on here. got to
It was
talk
fun.
about, some wrestling with him. But if you guys, enjoyed this week's episode of the We Are Wrestling podcast, make sure to smash that like button now. If you're listening to the podcast, give us a 5-star review, not just any review, a best one review, and download the episode, of course. But if you haven't checked out the We Are Wrestling YouTube channel, recommend you guys to hit that subscribe button now. Turn on the post notifications. We have lots of awesome content coming to the channel because, of course, we got November and December. That's when the ads are rolling in, so we're going to be really stepping it up on, the We Are Wrestling YouTube channel. Bunch of extras coming out, and, of course, additional, content as well over there. The link's down in the description below. You can go follow Ben and I over on our social medias and other YouTube pages, all that down below. I do toy reviews and toy hunts. Ben, he does music reactions and stuff. You can check us out over on our other channels. All the links down below. And of course, to all the We Are Wrestling Maniacs out there worldwide, we are taking over. Peace.